Hey guys, it's Nate, aka TheFutAccountant. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have some very special guests ready to unveil everything for one of those big football tournaments that happens every 4 years. You guys have heard about that, right? I'm here with Ashley and I'm here with Jamie, Foot Economist, for an interview about all things related to FC that are upcoming and also Festival of Football and all the content coming this summer. Guys, I'll let you say hello and introduce yourselves first because I can only give you a partially glowing introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Good to be here. I'm Jamie, and then yeah, over to you, Ash.
Yeah, I'm Ash. I don't have a cool tag. Yeah, we're both product managers at EA.
Yeah.
It's great to have you guys on. It's great to have some communication again and to hear about some things that are upcoming in this game. I know we're going to get to all the festival football content for the big tournament this summer, but I do want to dive into, Jamie, what you mentioned to me just off recording about some new features that are coming to this game in FC26. Even though it's not over yet, there's still some new stuff coming.
Yeah, no, and then maybe just before we get into that, Nate, you kind of mentioned one thing there. It's been a minute since
Yeah.
we've chatted, and I think maybe I just want to address, like, obviously as we were kind of doing the sort of talking about FC26 and all the things that we were planning for FC26. One of the things obviously that we mentioned is that we want to be more communicative with fans, and I think to some extent,
Yeah.
we've done that with some of the more like official comms, the feedback portal and some of the updates that we've been doing, various pitch notes and patch releases and that kind of thing. But I do just want to acknowledge, like, where we missed the mark is
Mm.
on, like, direct dev communications like this one that we're doing now. We missed the mark there. There was just some things that we were working through, internally around, how we could communicate with fans and sort of, when it came directly from devs. And I think we've gotten to a better spot now is the good news. And that's going to mean that we can do more communication like this going
Awesome.
forward. But it wasn't for a lack of trying is basically what
Okay.
I'm trying to say. We didn't want to just go radio silence because we didn't want to talk to you guys. Didn't have anything to say. So
Mm.
that's, yeah, just want to clear that up. But on to more fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got some we've got some cool fun things coming in Chapter 4 with Festival Football. I'll start with one of the ones that I think I'm most excited about, and that is event tokens. So at a very simplistic level, you can think of these as icon swaps done right.
Mm.
But like, I think it's important not to anchor yourself on that because this is going to be sort of very different things. So there's a couple of, like, let's start with like some of the problem spaces or like opportunities that we're kind of like thinking about from a player experience perspective that we're trying to deliver with tokens. So there's a couple of things that we heard our players say, and the first is that, like, especially if you're like a relatively core player that is playing, like, many hours of Ultimate Team a week or maybe even in a month, a lot of you are telling us that, like, hey, playing Ultimate Team feels like a bit of a full-time job,
Mm.
right? Like, I've got champions, I've got rivals, squad battles, evos, menu grind. Maybe I'm trading a bit on the transfer market. I'm doing my rush, et cetera, right? Like all the different modes, live events, tournaments, gauntlet, et cetera. There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And to some extent, that's like one of the strengths of Ultimate Team. There's lots of different ways to play Ultimate Team. But the problem sometimes can be that it can feel like, in order to keep up, that you have to go do all of those things in order to keep up. And for a lot of players, one, they just don't have the time to do that. Right. But then the other challenge is that, some players, I mean, I'll put myself in this boat. I don't particularly love playing against the AI. So
Okay.
when I feel like I have to go, like, earn my full suite of rewards for the week by going and playing against the squad battle AI, I don't get particularly jazzed for that. So that was one of the sort of like problem spaces that we were trying to address. And then the other thing that our players were telling us is that, as they are, working towards earning rewards, we can use champions as an example. You can put all this time in that week, to try get through your 15 matches. You get to the end of it, and then if you just happen to not get a strong reward that is going to fit into your squad in particular, or it's not particularly valuable, whatever it is,
Yeah.
that can be really frustrating. And so, thus, tokens were born. And so,
Oh.
tokens is essentially this mechanism where we have the ability to create new currencies that players can earn through various reward giving surfaces throughout the mode.
Okay.
And so, kind of the thinking that we have as we head into this festival football period is that we're going to be delivering tokens on a seasonal basis. So there'll be sort of like a seasonal token. And then we'll also have, in the future, we'll have other types of tokens released for maybe specific events. We're also going to have one that is a dedicated FUT Champions token.
Okay.
And sort of the journey that you can kind of think about here is that you'll be earning tokens in various places throughout the mode. In many places, they're going to be replacing some of the, like, original rewards that you would have been earning. And you'll be able to accumulate these tokens up to a weekly cap. And that weekly cap is really important. It's going to be 1,000 a week. And there's more like specifics and details, just I won't get into just for the sake of this video. You can go maybe read a pitch note or see it in game or whatever it is. But that weekly cap is really important because we suspect that a lot of the players, like sort of the more core players, the ones that play a lot, are going to feel that they don't need to go do absolutely everything in order to earn sort of their weekly cap worth of tokens. They'll just be able to kind of pick pick, their favorite mode to play. Rivals, for example, they'll be able to do some objectives and maybe some menu grind, and then they will have hit their weekly cap. And then there's going to be a ton of dedicated rewards in these dedicated token stores where they'll be able to take those tokens that they earn weekly in champions, or rather not champions, yes, but like the seasonal ones are not going to be in the champion space. We'll talk about that in a sec. You'll be able to earn in rivals, in objectives, in rush, et cetera, and you can then go redeem them for some really compelling rewards, kind of akin to what you could do with icon swaps. So we're really excited about that. It kind of gives you something long term to work towards over multiple weeks. And obviously, as I said, we can address some of that feedback around players feeling like it's way too much time and effort to kind of play across all those different modes.
Yeah.
And then, as I mentioned before, we are going to have a champions token. We're pretty excited about that. It's going to help give champions sort of this unique identity, this prestige. We know that's something that players have been talking about in the past. And I also think it's really great for players that are like all different skill levels in champions. Obviously, if you're a high skill player, you're going to be able to earn these tokens very quickly, and you'll be able to redeem some pretty powerful rewards on a weekly basis. But maybe if you're a lower skill player and you don't get a ton of wins each week, you can kind of build your way to some of the top tier rewards that are going to be available in this token store. So lots of things that we're super excited about that one. But I've already used up quite a bit of time talking about that, so we can, unless you have any questions, we could probably move on.
Yeah, let me just butt in with one question there. You mentioned like a token store, and you mentioned 1,000 tokens a week. I'm guessing inside of the store there may be rewards that are on the lower side of things, and then others that maybe it takes you 2, 3, 4 weeks to save up for. Would that be true?
Yeah, that's correct. So we'll just use maybe some, I know I wasn't going to use specific numbers, but I'll just use some specific numbers real quick. So this token window, or for the first season, for season 8, I think it is, it's going to be 5 weeks, and it's going to be 5,000 tokens that you'll be able to earn 1,000 tokens each week. And then the top token reward is going to be about half of that 5,000 token cap. So you're not going to like feel like you're going to have to go and earn absolutely everything to get some of those top rewards. Maybe one other thing to mention is that we don't have any plans on making these available in the store for FC points or coins. Everything, all the tokens that you're going to be able to earn are going to be available through just playing the game.
Yeah, I love the heart behind that, and like the motivation behind it is like you're playing all these different modes and you're still chipping away at something more than just like XP in the season pass, but you're also going towards some specific rewards through those tokens. So that idea sounds pretty good to me. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Sweet. Yeah, we are too.
All right, so the next thing that you mentioned was related to evolutions. Now, some people that are watching may have seen little bits and pieces of news about this already, but can you go into additional Evo repeats and the Evo undo that is coming?
Yes. Okay, so this is one I am particularly excited about as someone that does quite a few Evos myself. I know we've all felt this. You've seen an Evo, you've been excited about doing that Evo and the upgrade potential that could come from that. But like maybe the player that's in your club or the player that you want to put into that Evo is tradable. And you have this moment where you go like, yeah, well, I do want to do that Evo, but I'm like forfeiting the tradability of this item that I'd be putting in that like math doesn't really make sense for me. Or like, let's say that you put you've evolved an item and you realize, crap, actually, I wish I had put my previously unevolved version of this Evo into another Evo, right? Because there's now a better choice for me here. Or maybe you just get done with using an item and they've like been great for you, but you just kind of want to get some of the value back if they were tradable in the first place. So those are all the problem kind of spaces that we are trying to address with this Evo undo. Functionality is quite simple. Basically, you can just undo an Evo all the way back to any one of the like individual Evos that you have chained along the way of that Evo sort of creation, or you can go all the way back to the beginning. So if you put like, probably the best example is like some of those FUT birthday items, right? Like a lot of players are saying, hey, this is cool, but I'm like having to put like a multi-million coin item into this Evo, and that is quite the sting on the pocketbook, right? Because you're like, that's like a lot of value. Well, now you'll be able to say, hey, you know what, I just want to undo that. You like after you're done using it, or you want to replace it or whatever, you can just redo it all the way back to the beginning, sell it on the transfer market, just like you would as a regular item.
Yeah, I think that is amazing. And you mentioned FUT birthday. That is exactly the sort of new feature that comes from a new feature of the FUT birthday promo. I think a lot of us were torn in that space of, do I buy this Lamine Yamal for millions of coins and then Evo him and then lose those coins, or do I, not do that? And yeah, I think that's the best of both worlds there. And then additional Evo repeats. That's something new in relation to what we already have with Evos that are repeatable.
Yeah. So this one's pretty cool, obviously, right? Like, so Evos right now, you can have repeats on a specific Evo, right? So you can do an Evo twice if that's what it's set up to do, or twice every 24 hours, or whatever it is. But one of the things that we realized is that as we wanted to sort of make Evos more of a reward that you get throughout the game, not just in the Evo store. And we do this to some extent right now with the Evo consumables, but we realized that we want to be able to say, hey, you've unlocked this Evo already, and now you have the ability to earn an additional spin at that Evo elsewhere in the game. right?
Yeah.
So let's say we had like, okay, there's an Evo that was like giving you, +1 shooting or something like that, and you've already got that in your Evo store. You could earn like another repeat or another 5 repeats or whatever it is as a reward for something else in the game. I know that one's kind of like difficult to sort of like conceptualize. I think it'll be more clear once we start to kind of like roll out the feature functionality in game, and you guys can see how it works. But we're excited about that one.
Awesome. Well, let's move on from Evos to a couple new features, one relating to SBCs and the other penalty shootouts. Can you tell me about this? Because you mentioned this, and I am going to have so much fun with this. I think a lot of people are as well.
Yeah, so this is a brand new house rule for our live events. And so essentially we want to capture that moment of sort of like panic and fear, but also elation that comes with international football.
Yeah.
As an England fan, trust me, I know all about it. So it's exciting. Essentially what it is a new rule for live events that when you join, it goes straight to a penalty shootout. So no match, no extra time, straight to penalty shootout. So you can look forward to us sort of like pulsing that one in and out through the Festival of Football.
That just sounds like pure chaos and pure fun. I love it. I absolutely love it. How about we take a look into Festival Football? That's definitely the most exciting thing for me right now because, I mean, I'm wearing the jersey, the kit. I'm ready to go for the upcoming tournament. I'd love to hear, let's just start with the hard-hitting question first. We got a lot of exciting things, but a lot of people are wondering, without the official license this year for the tournament, how does that make things look different? Will it truly impact our experience in the game, or what can you mention about that?
Jamie, do you want to take it or do you want me to
Sure,
take it?
yeah. I mean, whenever there's going to be a footballing moment,
Yeah.
FC and Ultimate Team is going to show up, and we're going to celebrate that moment with the footballing world.
Yeah.
And you've probably seen us do that before to certain tournaments that we didn't have, sort of official licenses to, and so you can kind of probably guess how that experience is going to more or less look. The other thing to talk about is that we've got the official licenses to 41 of the national team clubs. So just in that in itself, you're going to have the real players, the kits, all these different things that are going to be represented authentically. So yeah, it'll still walk and talk like a fun event.
Absolutely. Yep. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I knew that was something that myself and a lot of people are wondering as we get really close to that time. But as you mentioned, the national teams being licensed, really excited about Brazil. That's got a lot of people excited for a certain player who has made the national team, Neymar. So looking forward to him being involved. Now, speaking of festival football content, Ashley, there are a lot of things incoming. First of all, can we talk about some of the promos that are incoming? Because that's what I'm super excited about. Can you share some light on that?
Absolutely, it's why we're here. I haven't got my jersey on today because I'm not sure I align with Thomas Tuchel's selections, but let's just get that one out of the way.
I was going to ask.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk Festival of Football. Okay, so Festival of Football is our name, theme, brand for Season 8. And so that starts June 4th. Essentially, we'll come on to campaigns in a second, but what you're going to see with this season is a far more sort of holistic approach, right? So, yeah, we're still going to have weekly campaigns. There's still going to be new squads and new things that pulse in and out weekly.
Yep.
But also sort of like over the 5-6 weeks of Festival of Football, you're going to see what we call like player programs, for instance, where, sort of like the road to the final items where they don't necessarily release with like a campaign squad, but they sort of like release throughout the season. You're going to see lots of things like that, lots of things of us still, as Jamie said, we're still football fans at heart. I know not everyone thinks that, but trust me, as a Wolves season ticket holder, we are unfortunately football fans. But yeah, like we're going to be able to like represent real world performances and things happening on the pitch. So there's going to be a lot going on over the season, and we can dig into some of those because they sort of like tie back into some of the features that we spoke about, and there's some stuff you're going to be excited for. But in terms of the campaigns, so Festival of Football will start with campaign 1, Path to Glory.
Yes.
So this is, everybody knows who's played this before, this is our returning campaign where essentially this is our sort of like flagship campaign of live items, right, that represent real world football. And so yes, they will upgrade based on performances on the pitch, based on particular outcomes of particular matches, etc. And there's going to be a whole slew of nations represented in that.
Awesome. One question I have about live cards. I have very fond memories of the Euros a couple years ago when we had a Path to Glory promo and was it there was another promo as well that I can't remember. Make Your Mark. That was it. They were live cards, and the upgrades happened daily in the evenings after the games were played, and I have to say that was one of the best things ever, because you would watch the game and you'd be like, oh, my card is going to go up +1 overall because they won. And then that upgrade would happen super fast. Do you know anything about the timing of the upgrades for at least Path to Glory and this promo that's upcoming?
So what I can definitely say is that we will try our best to get them done in a timely manner as possible.
Okay.
It is, believe it or not, manual. And so we have
Yeah.
lots of people who have to go in and update them. FC is an extension of football.
Yeah.
We want people to be watching football and then go, oh my God, I want to sort of like extend that experience in game.
Yeah.
And so being as like timely as we can helps with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Thanks for sharing about that. Let's move on from Path to Glory. What would we be following up that promo with?
Okay, so there's going to be a couple coming. I won't say like the exact order,
Okay.
but there's going to be some returning favourites. Greats of the Game is one that's going to be returning as well.
Nice.
Again, where we highlight greats of the game,
Yeah.
people who have made their mark in international football tournaments before, and we get to wheel out all of our biggest icons and heroes. So that'll be coming. There's going to be some cool new campaigns, which I won't sort of like spoil yet, but you know, you can think about some of the most favourite parts of just Ultimate Team in general and football in general.
Yeah.
Maybe a focus on younger players and younger stars and things of that ilk, and you know, a focus on the knockout rounds and things like that. And so there's going to be lots which sort of like represents how the summer tournament is unfolding, and our campaigns are going to sort of like reflect that as it goes on.
Okay, amazing. One of the things that I'm remembering from the last tournament 4 years back was the inclusion of the Festival of Football items that had a red card design, and they had kind of like a different chemistry for their nation. Are there anything in plans for that to return? Or is there a swaps program? I know you mentioned tokens are upcoming, but are there swaps coming alongside of this Festival of Football content as well?
Yeah, so there's lots of exciting stuff. So I'll tell you about two things. And so first of all, basically everything under the Festival of Football banner is going to have boosted nation kin. And so like everything is going to, we want people to be able to build like nation-based squads. And so like there's going to be a lot of Ken boosts flying around. There's two parts which I'll talk about. The first is, as you mentioned, sort of like red items.
Yeah.
Jamie sort of already spoke about the champs token.
Okay.
Now we kind of want to bring a bit of prestige and swagger back to champs.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to have exclusive player items that are available on red shells, which you can't earn anywhere else other than the Champs token store.
Awesome.
And so there's going to be some like really cool selections that if you want those items, you have to engage in Champs. And so helps bring back that exclusivity. One of the sort of like item rarities, item shells that we're going to bring sort of to the Festival of Football is something we're going to call National Pride. These items are really fun because if you remember Foot Birthday Bakery experience where items didn't have a playstyle, all of these items will go into that sort of experience. And so we're going to pulse these through Champs token stores, going to pulse it through Festival of Football token stores, going to be in sort of like in and about the place as you play throughout the season. There's going to be all of these items that you can customize to your heart's content. We don't want you to have to rely on us sort of like representing your favorite players and the way that you see them play.
Okay.
You can do that yourself. And if you think about how that sort of like merges with the Evo Undo functionality, you can create a player, you can undo them, you can try some new play styles. If you're like me, who doesn't like love and meta, you can go whip cross, precision head out, boom, it's great. So there's going to be lots of that sort of stuff coming through. And your Foot birthday items will be eligible for this as well. And so you can bring them along on the journey.
Now, that's great timing with the Evo Undo and kind of the birthday, but for the upcoming tournament sort of promo coming in there as well. That's amazing. I mean, I've got a full like USA Evo team that I've been working on, and they're ready. But I mean, hey, I'll do more upgrades and maybe change some of the upgrades on those cards with the Evo Undo. So that sounds amazing, especially for those who are big fans of Evos. Now, another question I want to ask about the upcoming content is, in years past, we've also had a standalone mode representing the tournament. Of course, we've had some that have been tied into Ultimate Team and others that have just been a complete standalone mode by itself, like we had in FIFA 23. Are there plans for any of that? I guess that's kind of an outside of Ultimate Team question, but is there any plans for that upcoming for this tournament?
It would not be a FC International Football mode without a tournament mode. So yes,
Sweet.
We're calling it the World's Game mode. It will be outside of Ultimate Team, and it will show up in career mode as well. And so there'll be a fully customizable tournament mode where you can set up the groups however you like, and you can bring in your favorite teams. You can replicate certain real world tournaments, and you can play through. The really cool thing about it is you'll be able to earn rewards for playing in it for sort of like other gamers. So you'll be able to for clubs rewards and ultimate team rewards, and potentially for the future rewards as well. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of these games. I've got the 2002 World Cup game
I
up
see
there.
that.
If you
Yeah,
can't see
yeah.
it. So, like, I've been playing these games for decades, and so yeah, this is something that's quite exciting.
Now you mentioned that that mode is actually going to have some correlation with Ultimate Team. Could you maybe expound a little bit more on that, on how that could go together?
Yeah, and so I think we can be honest about that. Ultimate Team isn't the most welcoming place for new users and new players, and
Fair.
so
Yeah.
we just want to sort of like give those new players who tend to come into a tournament mode, right? Like if you're a football fanatic, you come in, you want to play a tournament, and so it's just going to be a way to sort of like reward those players with maybe some kits or some players or whatnot
Okay.
in Ultimate Team to sort of like redeem them and maybe go into squad battles or whatnot. So it's just a way of sort of like saying, hey, there's more to this game than just the tournament mode.
Awesome. Now that sounds really good. I have very fond memories of FIFA 18 when that mode was connected and all the fun stuff that was inside of that. So to have it be connected again sounds really, really cool. So I think if there's anything else that you have to share about upcoming content, maybe there is.
Just one more
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that?
Okay, so we are also bringing sort of like a new feature, new content piece, what we're calling Journey of Nations into Ultimate Team. And so essentially this is going to be your sort of one-stop shop for where you come into Ultimate Team during this tournament. And essentially it's going to represent itself as 5 objective paths, one for each continent of the world. And they're going to unlock weekly. Each of these objective paths is full of all sorts of international football rewards, kits and tifos, exclusive players, re-release players, etc. Each one is going to be sort of like bookmarked with like a very special, unique player who represents that continent. And so this is kind of our way of celebrating international football and each continent's sort of like contribution to football culture over the years. And yeah, this is going to be like a really fun celebratory place. It's not supposed to be for like hardcore competitive players, but it's for everybody, right? This is where you celebrate football within FC. So that'll be launching on the first day of Festival of Football as well.
Awesome. No, that's really exciting. I was wondering, I know like the USA kit had an objective in game. I was wondering for all the other nations competing in a tournament, like would there be content for them as well to get the kits and to kit out their ultimate team in that way? I love that. I absolutely love that. That's amazing.
And I can tell you that North America will be the first continent.
Okay, all right. Sweet. I mean, it does make sense as the host, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So I was thinking of questions that I might have. But man, you guys I feel like I've been able to answer or ask my questions, and you guys have been able to answer them as we've been going throughout this. I don't really know if I have too many here at the end. I'm sure some of you guys watching this video are like, Nate, ask this. But hopefully with what you mentioned, Jamie, about future conversations continuing, we'll be able to maybe have one of these in a month or so again, and we can kind of fine tune the details as we get into the tournament and everything that's going to come alongside of it in FC 26. But I think I speak for all of us in saying that we are really excited for everything that's going to be incoming, especially because like this only happens every 4 years, and it's the biggest sporting event in the world. It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
we're excited too, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So thanks to EA for allowing this interview with Jamie and Ashley. It was great to finally get some communication from inside EA once again. Of course, though, as I was doing the video, I'm sure you guys were thinking of questions that you would have for them. Put those in the comments down below. Ask away, because I will try to send some of those to those guys and get some responses back to you that we can then address as we look into Festival of Football and all the content upcoming in FC 26. If you enjoyed this video, drop a thumbs up on it. And of course, subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.